It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
Hey now. Hey now.
All right.
Hey now.
Welcome in. It is the Get You to the Weekend edition of the Patrick Johnson Show, reporting from the working man's beach, Surf City, America. I am merely the great P-Man. We are going to have Marc Miller on the show today, the award winner. Looking forward to that. And we will have Hold My Beer with Marc. We'll also talk a little NFL football with him, including his Philadelphia Eagles playing in what's going to be a snow game against the Los Angeles Rams. So Marc Miller coming up on the fine radio product you're consuming here this afternoon. Philip the Ref Pilkington is here, but we start things with our friend Brian Mull, college basketball writer, who joins us here. There we go. The crowd goes mild for Mull. There it is. All right, Brian Mull with us, ladies and gentlemen. And a little golf first. They have moved Tigers event out of Los Angeles because of the wildfires and what have you there. And that seems to make a lot of sense to me, Brian. Although they are playing, still playing sporting games there. But that makes a lot of sense to me that they're going to move that event out of there. Does that surprise you, Brian Mull?
No, I mean, having had the immense pleasure of spending several weeks of my life at Riviera Country Club and the surrounding area, the fires at their worst, at their peak, were within 100 yards, if not less, than from encroaching there on Riviera in the Pacific Palisades, Brentwood, part of Los Angeles. And there was widespread destruction all around there. And I'm just, when you think of the scale of volunteers who are required to put on any PGA Tour event, just asking those folks to come out and give their time when there's much more necessary pressing matters, many of whom probably lost their homes and businesses and et cetera. Makes sense. Just tragedy. Horrible set of circumstances out there, and hopefully we'll miss Riviera. It's probably my favorite golf course on the circuit each year, and we'll hope for the best, and it'll be interesting to see what the tour decides to do as far as where they're going to hold the event.
We've got Brian Mull. We're going to talk some college hoops. Pirates lose the other night to a North Texas team. North Texas, to me, is frightening. I would want no part of North Texas if I were anybody in the American come Fort Worth in March.
There's no question. I've been following that program now for about a decade, and it is. I've used this analogy before, but it's like going in for a root canal when you play them. You're nervous beforehand, and you get in there, and it's just as bad, if not worse, than you had feared, because they just they're going to control the tempo of the game. I mean, they've been able to do that if they're playing whoever they're playing. They're able to get them to play at their style. They're very rugged defensively, almost a Virginia pack line type defense where it's just impossible, really hard to get the ball inside. They force you to take shots where they want to. They rebound the ball, and then they always have a guard or two who's a late game closer and a playmaker. And they've bought into this style. They recruit to it. They get some junkyard dogs that are really tough and physical. And, they've had some elite teams, but they're just consistently a top 75, top 100 program. And that they have an identity. And I think that's a lot. There's a lot to be said for that at the level of the American Athletic Conference. When
if there is a program if there is a program that's getting hosed by the conference because of net, it is North Texas, because they are a tournament team. They are a tournament caliber team. That team should be considered for an at-large if they don't win the conference tournament. And when I say should, I mean they have with the eye test. To me, they're a tournament team. They're better than some 8th or 9th place team out of the Big Ten or the SEC. I mean, they're just as good as maybe somebody in the SEC. and can win a game or two in the tournament. They won't get in because they have no more quad one opportunities, and they're 0-3 against quad ones. So, I mean, they won't. But then the conference not having a stronger presence probably hurts them because, if the conference were stronger, they'd probably be at least 10 or more places better in the net.
There's no doubt. I mean, when you look at KenPom, SEC has 14 teams in the top 55, and the American has one. With North Texas being just outside that threshold at 59th currently, and you're right. So every single time you tee it up in the SEC, home or away, you have an opportunity to enhance your resume, and you're going to win some of those games. And like you said, we're going to reward teams. The deck has always been stacked in favor of the top 5, now 4 conferences, and it is more so than ever with these mega leagues, unbalanced schedules, and just the Americans of the world not getting the opportunity in the non-conference. I mean, you look at North Texas; they do not have a bad loss. They lost on the road to a very good McNeese team that went to the tournament last year, an excellent High Point team that is the favorite still in the Big South. Utah State on a neutral, and they lost in the conference at Memphis. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's teams in the ACC that have much worse losses than that already. There's teams in the SEC that just won't even. They're going to have so many of those games. It's just a volume factor. And you're right. North Texas looks like a tournament team because they play a tournament style of basketball year round. They don't turn the ball over. They defend. They're comfortable at the slower pace that we often see in March and
they make threes. They make
tournaments, and they're a top 50 3-point shooting team, and that has been a recipe that teams that can make threes and defend and win the turnover battle. Those are teams that win consistently historically in March. I mean, those are the teams you want to look at when you're filling out your bracket. 3-point shooting, win the turnover battle, and they've done that, and so. It's a shame, but I guess they'll go to one of these other tournaments.
They'll go to the NIT for the 4th straight year and win a game at least in that, and maybe even more. Brian Mull with us here, college basketball writer. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't put it past them to win the conference tournament. It's right there in their backyard. Memphis lost last night to Temple and never led in that game. So, I don't think this Memphis deal is this invincible, going to waltz through everything juggernaut. I watched last Saturday the game between Memphis and East Carolina, obviously on Plus, and it may or may not have sounded like they had a contest and the winners got to announce the game. It may or may not have sounded like that. I shouldn't have said that. That was ugly. That was ugly, Pilk. Strike that from the record, Pilk. That was ugly. But the thing that I almost spit take Mull on that one. Almost spit take him on that one.
You and Fridays, man. You're unhinged on Fridays. I love it.
I'm unhinged on Fridays. I've completely lost it on Fridays. I'm over it at that point. But I mean, on that broadcast, which sounded like fans doing the game, on that broadcast, all they talked about was Memphis going undefeated. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, do they have the talent to go undefeated in the conference? Yeah, they do. But this is, I mean, again, it goes back to what I was just saying. The American, I think, is undervalued in a lot of ways. And it has been the last handful of years. And, it doesn't help when you lose Houston and lose Cincinnati and to a degree UCF and now SMU. But, I mean, there's still, like Temple's, it's a solid little basketball team. They got a good coach. They got some dudes. North Texas, good basketball team. I think FAU is always going to be good. USF had the tragedy not befell their program, they probably would have had a chance to be really, really good this year. UAB's underachieved, but they're going to be fine.
Kennedy.
I was going to say, UAB didn't look real good in the beginning, but they'll be all right. They're going to win some games. I mean, I've just named a bunch of people. That's the upper half of the league, in theory. So, I don't know, Mull. I go back to the American is probably fine if somebody other than Memphis wins the conference tournament this year, because I think Memphis is solidly 2 feet in. There's no unless they just tank, and they're not going to tank. Memphis is 2 feet in the tournament right now, I think. What say you, Mister?
Yeah, they have to be careful. they can afford an odd loss here or there to a Temple, but they have to be careful. They can't have a 3-game losing streak in February or anything like that, and put all the pressure on themselves going into the conference tournament because, hey, we saw what happened last year in the conference tournament. Temple UAB.
Sure.
And nobody had that on their card. Anything wild, crazy things happen in March. So Memphis. I agree with you. They're in much better shape than they've been for at large, but they have to. They need to win the regular season and probably by a couple of games.
Yep. Brian Mull with us, college basketball scribe, is with us on the program. Let's talk the Pirates real quick. They'll be at Wichita State tomorrow night. Have won the last 2 times out there in the Roundhouse, which was, I think, a little bit would be surprising to the layman average fan. Brian, when you look at East Carolina, the thing I do like is R.J. Felton has seemed to have rediscovered his game. I think that is a positive. You go into Wichita State tomorrow. This is another team that was off to a very surprising 0-3 start in the conference before they beat stinky Charlotte earlier in the week at home, and they'll have an opportunity to close out a 2-0 week against the Pirates. ECU begins the first of a 2-game out in the Central Time Zone trip, where they will take on Wichita State. According to Pilk, will come back to Greenville after the game. Day in Greenville, leave Monday to go back out to Tulsa, which seems bizarre to me, but hey, if you're getting on jet airplanes and they're chartered, why not? So I'm just going on what Pilk is telling me, Mull. Let's. Okay, well, hey, Pilk, right there, Mull believes you.
Hey,
I don't.
I'm
dubious.
I got one. That's all that matters.
You got one. All right, Mr. Mull. I keep calling you Mr. Mull a lot. Mr. Mull, what will you think happens tomorrow in this game? Wichita State hosting the ECU Pirates, who, boy, I tell you what, you don't get this one, and you're looking at a really, really rough beginning to conference play, and really difficult to move up the standings in any way and improve your seeding if you got to at least get a split of these next 2 in my mind.
I agree. A tricky trip, and a Wichita State team that just lost complete sight of defending in the first 3 games of conference, allowing 91 to Temple, 91 to South Florida, and 88 to a very pedestrian UTSA team with a first-year coach. So looks like they probably spent a little bit of time on that, before the Charlotte game and defended well there. And they've had a couple more days of practice, and I'm sure that's been an emphasis from Paul Mills. I like Wichita State's team. I think the program there is headed in the right direction. Like you said, they typically have a strong home court advantage, even though ECU has had some success out there. And I like the way the pace and the offense were trending for ECU before they ran into the brick wall that is North Texas. So hopefully they can poke some holes in that defense of Wichita that has shown some inability to defend the paint. And they're not going to make a ton of threes, but they need to make some timely ones. And R.J. Felton's got to continue playing at a first-team all-league level for this team to win anywhere, especially on the road where it's always a little more difficult. So. Yeah, I agree. They need to get a split and get some momentum and try to have a solid finish to January and then have a really nice February. Nothing's easy. Nothing's going to be easy in the American. I mean, it's a competitive every night out. If you don't play well, you're going to lose.
Wichita tomorrow night at 7 for the Pirates, 6:30 on 94.3 The Game and 107.9 WNCT. And they will be at Tulsa Tuesday. Next Saturday will be USF and ECU. Real quick primer on this Tulsa team, Brian. They got off to a little bit of a tough start as well.
Yeah, Eric Conkle's a guy that I've kind of kept an eye on for many years. He was a longtime assistant of Jim Larinaga. He was on the staff of the 2006 Final Four team, and then shortly thereafter landed down at Louisiana Tech and did a solid job with that program for 7 years. Never got them to the tournament, but strung together 20, 23, 24 win seasons, consistently, and showed some nice progress last year in year 2 at Tulsa, getting them just above 500. They've dealt with a little bit of the injury bug, bit them a little bit earlier this year. They lost a couple of key pieces, and they haven't shot the ball very well at all. They can commiserate with the Pirates. They're shooting around 30% from 3 So yeah, I think it's been. I think it's fair to characterize Tulsa as a disappointment at this point in the season. Their best win, if you could call it that, is over UTSA on the road last week. They really struggled with a lot of what you would call 50-50 games in the non-conference. So they're kind of in a similar situation to ECU. It's desperation time. They need to answer some questions and start, just honestly be better on both ends. I mean, you can look at their offense or their defense. Neither one's been anything to put on video and save.
We're going to talk to Marc Miller about football coming up in a little bit, but we have college basketball this weekend, and Brian Mull is with us to talk about that. All right, matchup in the top 10, Alabama against Kentucky. How about Mark Pope and the job he's done at Kentucky? If you'd told me that he was going to come in and they would have the type of season they've had so far, I probably would have questioned you, especially if you would have told me that Cal has gone out and they started 0-4 in the SEC out at Arkansas. So Cal is washed. Mark Pope, and he doesn't have to buy a coffee in Lexington. They love him out there.
Yeah, you and I have as many SEC wins as John Calipari. He's laughing all the way to the bank though every morning, yep. And the SEC that John Calipari ran for years, those early years at Kentucky, that league is gone. I mean, it is a dogfight against excellent coaches every single night, and he gets outcoached every single night because they have some talent. I don't know how well it fits together, but they certainly have some talent. But they and the folks in Kentucky couldn't be happier that John Tyson took a $40 million problem right off their hands. They have a coach in Mark Pope who has restored the type of culture that they prided themselves on, and the heritage there of just not only talent but just cohesive. Those folks up there in Kentucky, they know basketball. I've been to a game at Rupp Arena. I mean, they know ball. I mean, it's in their blood, and they knew the product that Calipari, that half-court offense he was putting out there. Most of his stint, especially the last 4 or 5 years, just was not good basketball. And Pope is coaching X's and O's. He makes great in-game adjustments. I mean, just going back to November, the Duke game, he made some just phenomenal adjustments in halftime of that game and down the stretch. They look like a team to me that could go to the Final Four. And, with Calipari, you always had them in the back of your mind as a Final Four team because of their talent, but they didn't get anywhere close the last several years he was there. So they could barely get out of the first weekend if they could get into the tournament at all. So it's a huge upgrade to put together a roster with I love their roster. It's older guys, a lot of whom have tournament experience, and they have the number 2 offense in the country. And, Alabama, Kentucky, it should be that's good. There's going to be so many great games in the SEC. You already had a few, but that's just going to be another one. I mean, there's going to be points on the board. And if you didn't know it, you might think you're watching an NBA game for stretches.
That is a noon tip tomorrow. At 1 tomorrow is number 1 Auburn ripe for an upset against Georgia. Yeah,
Georgia, Mike White is the ultimate case of sometimes after 6 or 7 years, a guy just needs a change in scenery. And, the only problem Mike White had at Florida was that he was not Billy Donovan. And, he had okay results, but he got ahead of the hounds there and made the trip up to Athens, and who wouldn't want to be there? And, here's a program that's had very little, if any, success, been in the bottom of the tier of the SEC for forever. And he's done a fine job there, has them where they're a serious tournament contender. And, they'll have they have a home game. They've already beat Kentucky at home this year. They have a nice win over Rick Pitino in the non-conference. And, certainly at 14-3, nothing to sneeze at. So, the Steckman Coliseum there is kind of a sneaky good barn. It's kind of an old school, no bells and whistles or frills. But I think the Georgia fans, when they can figure out the difference between a rebound and a screen pass,
yes.
I think most of them are starting to understand that, and they've got a pretty good product there. They have a terrific freshman, potential lottery pick, Asa Newell, 6'11", 220. they better get a good look at him because he's likely to be playing on a different league next year.
And I'll say this, the people at Florida, given some of the news out of there, especially overnight, some of the news out of UF and Gainesville, they might wish they had White back as the coach. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's tough times down in Gainesville here all of a sudden with the coaching staff down there. All right. Got a couple minutes here, so we'll go. I want to ask you about North Carolina. They got Stanford tomorrow in that coveted CW spot. Your mileage may vary where you find that. And, I look at it like this. I think the Tar Heels are kind of benefiting right now from a really porous ACC schedule. They caught some breaks with the schedule maker. I think if you look at where North Carolina is going to wind up at the end of the year, we would go back 2 weeks when the Cadeau 3 went on that bad play by Notre Dame that led to a 4-point play and a win. So I think when you go back and look at that, that may have been the turning point. I think the Heels have been able to take advantage, too, again, of and be able to figure their team out against a really, really favorable ACC schedule to date.
Well, you're 100% right. I mean, if they don't win that Notre Dame game, they're not making the NCAA tournament. Well, they probably would have lost one more since then. But that gave them some confidence, and they've been beating up on the dregs, which most of the ACC is the dregs this year. The problem with North Carolina is the UCLA win on the neutral floor is carrying less value all the time because the Bruins can't get it done in the Big Ten. And Dayton, another neutral court win, which looked like a potential quality win. The Flyers have hit the skids as well. So they're going to need to knock off a Duke or Pittsburgh or Clemson and get a couple more quality wins down the road.
Good stuff, Brian Mull. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Patrick. Pilk, everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too, man.
There he goes, Brian Mull. We'll talk to Marc Miller. Talk some football when we come back.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready?
Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
Well, it is not every day that you get to have an award winner on this radio program. Not to mention a five-time award winner. Making his triumphant return to our little radio clubhouse here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We welcome the one and only Marc Miller from 107.9 WNCT.
Thank you.
Company man wearing his IBX Media pullover.
That's just good timing, really.
That's just good timing.
That's all it is.
Was Miller? Yeah, Miller was at the Christmas party, wasn't he, Pilk?
He was, yeah. Remember he had the fun Hanukkah glasses with the mustache?
That's
I tried
right, he
to
did.
be memorable, man. I tried to make a lasting impression. I didn't do a good enough job, I think.
It's because you had the Hanukkah glasses, and I was like, "This is a Christmas party. We're not talking about." But they coincided this year. The start of the 8 nights, the 8 crazy nights.
They did, and actually, we had
Christmas
Hanukkah in 2025 already because Hanukkah went into the new year. So we had 2 Hanukkahs this year.
2 Hanukkahs.
It's pretty sweet. How many Christmases you get, huh? No, just kidding.
Just one. Hey, it's like Christmas every day for Marc Miller because the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters have once again named Marc Miller and Laura Smith
That's right.
as its personalities of the year for the 5th time. I went to that a few years ago, and you were already braggadocious during that particular exchange. I can't imagine how obnoxious you were this week when you won it for the 5th time.
Oh, you can. You can. You know how obnoxious we were. Although I got to tell you something. The great Mick Mixon was the MC.
Yeah.
And, incredible sportscaster wore so many hats in his career. And he's a Hall of Famer for the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters. And he announced us the year before and everything. He knew us, and we talked to him on numerous occasions. And he goes to announce the award. And our show is called The Morning Rush, right?
Right.
And he says, and the award goes to The Morning with Marc and Laura. And it took our boisterousness down a peg because as I'm walking up there, I'm looking out at this room, and there's so many big wigs and important people in North Carolina radio. And I'm thinking all these people think that our show is the least creatively named show of all time. The Morning.
Well, I think by the way you've won this thing and dominated the award, 5 out of 6, which is dynasty territory, people know it's the Morning Rush.
People
Come on.
are like,
Come on.
man, how can they keep winning awards if they call their show The Morning? It's the worst name I've ever heard.
Well, it's on in the morning.
Very true. Okay, that's a good point.
You know, it's funny. We're 1 day away from the 21st anniversary of my favorite ever Mick Mixon call.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's Carolina, there is a Super Bowl, and we're in it. Anybody remember what stadium that game was played in?
So that was the NFC Championship game.
There's a reason I'm asking.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You know what? I almost got into a throwdown fight. I was in a bar in Springfield, Massachusetts, and there were these Patriots fans watching me in my Eagles jersey lose that game. One of the Ricky Manning Jr. with how many interceptions in McNabb?
3.
We didn't rehearse this, by the way. This is I'm pulling this out of my what, and I almost got thrown out of a bar because of that game. Thanks for bringing that up, Phil. Appreciate it.
Sorry. You know, we gotta have a little
exactly.
fun.
Wait a minute. That's not exactly award-winning behavior to be thrown out of a bar, but
no,
that's okay. Actually, it might get you more awards in the radio industry.
It wasn't award-winning behavior to throw 3 interceptions to Ricky Bleepin' Manning Jr. I'll tell you that much. Why you gotta
Marc
bring that
Miller.
up? Oh, don't bring that up before this weekend. We got big things this weekend.
I know. I'm sorry.
Marc Miller, who is very excited about the divisional round. The good news, Mark, is, and I don't know where you get your television, but let's just assume it's Optimum Cable. This just means you will be able to watch your game because they have not ripped WITN off of the cable system. So you'll be good to go.
Excited
for that
to
game
see
if
the
you
game.
were an Optimum subscriber.
Excited,
yes. All right.
and I know there's some snow in the forecast potentially too. So
what, here
in Philadelphia?
I know.
Right?
I know. Yes, I'm messing with you, Mark. I'm messing with you. So already your Eagles have run roughshod over the Rams earlier this season, right?
Like literally, how many yards did Saquon have in that game? It was
250 plus,
60-yard run, a 70-yard run. He was all over the place in that one. Yeah, but they're different. I think the Rams are a better team than they were. That was late.
Oh, sure.
Was it late November or late October? It was earlier in the season, and they've reeled off a bunch of wins since then.
Okay. Well, yeah, obviously they're a better team.
Yeah,
They have
it was late November.
Right.
And he had 255 yards. Sorry.
Did they go back to L.A., Pilk, the Rams?
I have not heard. I would assume they did. I mean, UCLA played at Poly Pavilion the other night, and UCLA is a hell of a lot closer to the Wildfires than Inglewood. So I would guess they went back, but yeah, I haven't seen for sure.
Marc Miller, who also is our resident musicologist, I always hear Inglewood, and I think Inglewood up to no good, which is from musicologist, which is from Inglewood, always up to no good.
Inglewood, always up to no good. Crap.
The line is Inglewood, always up to no good. Yeah. It's a throwaway line late in the song. When they're running through the cities. The musicologist, Marc Miller, should know this.
Come on. I can kind of hear it. I don't know.
And a good producer will bet out with it as well.
I don't know what
Tupac and Dre, California.
Oh, no.
California Love?
Party. California Love.
Right.
All I know is during that whole thing, Patrick was like showing his Chiefs fandom. He was doing this. He had that tomahawk chop. Patrick is a Chiefs fan. You heard it here
first. Confirmed. I can't believe I didn't get that.
Let me tell you something. If you are an Optimum Cable subscriber, you will not be able to watch over the cable system. Does not appear the game between
is that right?
The Ravens and the Bills. Yeah, because they've taken Channel 9 off of WNCT off the cables. So 6:30 Sunday. When you want to sit down, but if you've got Nickelodeon, you can watch it on there. So that's what we do now.
Are they doing like the slime thing for that game?
I think they are. I think they are. I'm not. They'll confirm all this because we're just making up stuff.
I think that's a one-time. I think that's just the wild card around to the slime. But here's the nice thing, though. What I don't understand, guys, explain to me this. When crap like this happens, there's a way to avoid it. you have the old school rabbit ear antennas. I still have one just in case, God forbid, the internet would go out because my cable isn't really cable. It's through, the internet. And if there's a game on, well, you still need an old school antenna.
You still have the rabbit ear. I didn't even know that they would still work.
So
we have our stuff through YouTube TV.
It's a flat thing that goes on the wall. It's the same color as the wall. You can barely see it's there, but it does the same thing as rabbit ears. But no, I don't have aluminum foil on the top of rabbit ears.
I could totally see you having that, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
I could too. I could see Bill having that as well. I am now a devotee of YouTube TV, Miller.
Yeah, I love it too. I
was very leery about it. I was very leery about it, but I'm on board with it now.
Yeah.
All right, Miller. So you're feigning concern over the Rams and Eagles in a snowstorm, and I say feigning concern because we know it's going to be fly birds fly all day against the Rams and in a snowstorm in Philadelphia. Come on.
Well, I don't know how much snow there's going to be. First of all, I would beware of the whole
feet of snow.
It's the West Coast team doesn't play well outside. If you say any of that to a Philadelphian, we'll remind you about the year 2004 when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers couldn't win if the temperature was under 40 degrees, and it was the last game at Veterans Stadium, and it was the NFC Championship, and I was on my way to go watch that game, and I was already talking about where we do the Super Bowl and all that stuff, and it was a very terrible moment. It was the year after the Carolina loss that Philip brought up.
No, it was the year before.
Appreciate that.
The Carolina loss.
Exactly.
The Tampa Bay was the year before Carolina. Because Tampa Bay was the last year of Veterans Stadium, and Carolina, that was the first year of Lincoln Financial.
You're right. That's it. And, and they all sucked, and that was great. Thanks for clarifying. No, but I think the Rams are better than they were. I think the Eagles win this game, but I don't count chickens before they're hatched. I know there's a lot of national media that's kind of like in the let's jump on Jalen Hurts right now because his numbers aren't gaudy. And I think those people don't understand the difference between volume and percentage. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he's not amassing the number of yards, but when he's called to do stuff, he does it. When they stacked the box, they stacked it against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh stacked the box against Saquon, and we had Devontae and AJ with 100 yards. Like, Jalen will do what needs to be done, but we have a really good offensive line and a generational running back, so we might as well use him. It's just
Pilk, I love the fact that I love the not only the hot take from the award-winning Mark Miller from the Morning Rush on 107.9 WNCTA, but I love the fact that he calls the players by their first names as if Miller is personal friends with them. I love that. That makes my day.
Saquon, though. When
when you win 5 awards, you're privy to some information. I've spoken
to a little
with both
leeway.
I give them pep talks. We're tight like this,
All right. So Miller says the Eagles, Avi. I go Eagles as well. They're going to roll. And Pilk, what do you got?
So here's an interesting thing. Mark said don't get caught up in the West Coast going to East Coast thing.
Right.
These teams have met 3 times in the playoffs before.
Mm-hmm.
The home team has won 1 time.
Is that right?
And that was when the Rams beat the Eagles, even the year before the Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game in St. Louis.
God, we have to revisit all 3 of them in a row.
What I'm saying though is when the
Miller, don't have dinner plans.
Rams,
you're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Are in
history lesson.
If the Rams are in LA and one team has to travel all the way across the country, when these two meet in the playoffs, they are undefeated. You guys went into the LA Coliseum in the 1949 NFL Championship game and won. They came to you guys in the 89 wild card round all the way across and won.
Welcome to my world. Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. I remember that 49. That 49 game was a doozy.
That was something they took.
14-0 Eagles.
They took a steam train. They took a steam train across the country to go play.
The players were shoveling the coal right in.
All right. The other NFC. Oh, go ahead, Bill. Did you ever give a pill?
Yeah, I don't know.
You lost me in all of that.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I don't know. Gut feeling. Mark's gonna hate me.
Okay, go with your gut, man.
I'm going with my gut. I don't know why. Going Eagles.
All right.
Or going Rams, I mean.
I already hate you because you brought up Ricky Manning Jr.
You brought up Ricky Manning Jr.
You brought up the Panthers game that made Ricky Manning Jr.
You brought up Mick Mixon, and then I said my favorite, Mick Mixon call. If you wouldn't have said Mick Mixon, it's all your fault. Don't blame me for this crap.
Well, thank you. The content, the hashtag content crap. This is great. This is why we don't win awards, Pilk, like Miller does. All right. The other NFC game is the Washington Commandos at the Detroit Lions. I am going Lions to roll. Mark Miller, who you got?
I believe the Lions will win this game, but I do not believe they will roll. I think we're looking at, and it's not a quantifiable thing. It's like the two most magical teams. All right, Lions have run on a lot of magic all season. The Commanders are certainly, like right now, they're pulling stuff out of everywhere, and it feels like they've got something special, right? I don't think they have enough special to take on the Lions to come out on top, but I actually think it's going to be a very close game.
I think it's going to be one of those where it's like the Commanders are chasing the whole game. It never gets like out of hand.
I don't think so, yeah.
But it's like you kind of know, like, they're just behind. They're one step behind.
Could this be the game where the coach of Detroit, I can't remember,
Dan Campbell,
makes like one of those ridiculous decisions that he makes every game and it backfires?
Could be.
No, that's next week.
When
the pressure gets on him next week, that's next week. When the pressure's really on, there will be no pressure on this go around here because Montgomery's back, and I think they're going to run wild on this crowd. Plus, their defense is, even though it's banged up, really good in Detroit. All right, AFC. Saturday.
Man.
We've got the Texans, a little bit of a surprise winner, and the Chiefs. KC will roll in that one by 2 scores. Mark it down.
I can't argue with that. The Chiefs looked so much better at the end of the year, and they just look like they're going to do their thing. And of course, they get to avoid the Bills and Ravens, which play each other, and then the winner of that slugfest has to go to Kansas City. Right. I feel like it's just the red carpet's once again rolled out for them to get all the way to the Super Bowl. But I take Chiefs too.
24-10.
Bill, did you give a winner of Detroit and Washington? You did. You said Detroit.
I said that Washington would kind of be in a chase mode.
I'm surprised we didn't get a history lesson of the NFL. But go ahead, Bill.
I'm going. KC by 2 scores. I'm going 24-10.
No surprise. Remember that time when Washington beat the Eagles in the playoffs or something? Although
remember when Andy Reid? Yes.
I was going to say, I was at the only Eagles playoff game I ever saw was Eagles-Lions in like the mid-'90s, and we demolished them. Yeah. Oh, this is a great game.
I can't believe that Pilkington didn't go into Andy Reid's failures as the getting the Birds to the Super Bowl as the Eagles head coach. I'm surprised he didn't go there with that and run through that number.
Why don't you just come out here and beat me with a stick while we're at it? Like,
you brought up the Tampa Bay thing. You brought up the Rondé Barber pick 6.
I did not mention his name. Okay. And don't you even dare say Joe Jaravicious. Don't say it.
But look, the Rams thing was solely a history lesson. I threw in a Rams win. I threw in, an Eagles win in 49. Sorry that Mark didn't remember it. It was just history.
I think the Ravens-Bills, and I do feel badly for the people that were relying on Optimum Cable, at least as we sit here right now, to try to watch this game on CBS, because it's going to be like the go into the weekend before 60 Minutes comes on game, and the kids get all jittery when they hear the clock ticking because they know school's the next day. That's how it rolls with 60 Minutes. Now,
you're right.
So, Ravens-Bills. I'm gonna go Ravens. I'm gonna go Baltimore here in this spot.
Okay, I'll side with
something
Buffalo.
About the Ravens. Something about them Ravens.
MVP versus MVP, the two guys in the discussion. Give me the home team in this one. I feel like it could be the only real difference. This is the must-see game of the weekend. Clearly,
yeah, absolutely.
Game of the year.
It's must-see TV, and I have no actual feeling or lean coming into this one. Okay. I don't, but I'm going to say Buffalo because I'll take the home team. And also the team that they both need it. Jeez, for both those quarterbacks and their legacies and all that kind of stuff. I was going to say the Bills need it, but the Bills need it for like generations and generations of fans who are just long suffering.
Yeah.
So let's go with them.
Lamar Jackson just needs it for his
Yeah, trophy case.
His legacy in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm with Mark. I don't know what to do, so I'm going home team. Give me Buffalo.
There you go. There it is.
Do I get a prize if I picked everything right? Like, what happens here?
You've already won enough awards. We're hitting a break. We're going to come back right after this for a little Hold My Beer. Let's see. Did Pilk pick up on the cue? Do we have California betting to break? Do we? There we go.
There you go. I hear it.
Look at that. What a great producer. All right. It is the Patrick Johnson Show. It is a Get You to the Weekend Friday, and we do Hold My Beer. Coming up next.
Let's go.
Do you have something you need to get off your chest? Get off your chest.
I am not here for rage. I'm here for revenge.
Did your favorite team blow another game?
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Or is there just something that's driving you crazy?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
It's time to let it all out.
You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
With another edition of Hold My Beer.
Hold my beer.
Do you TikTok, Miller, as an award winner? Do you TikTok? Because it's apparently coming to an end, it looks like.
I do not TikTok. I am an old man who can't figure out all technology.
Yeah,
Milk's an old man. You don't TikTok, do you, Phil?
I do, actually, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Zooming for the ladies there. All right. This is where we, what kind of grinds your gears, what irks you, that kind of thing. I have a lot of things that could irk me. The fact that Miller's won another championship to be the guy that is the top broadcaster in North Carolina for yet another year.
And yet you keep having me on.
Well, I like to rub elbows with great. I mean, this is a ratings ploy. I mean, this is all this is. This is all this is a mere ratings ploy. I'm hoping that maybe you'll get nominated for a best guest appearance or something on this show since you're on here.
I'll accept that award. I'll take
it.
Yeah,
I know you will. You all will take it for sure because you take all of them. All right, I could complain about that, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm gonna congratulate Miller. Here is my Hold My Beer for right now. And this is all of these people hoping and wishing that we have snow in eastern North Carolina. Y'all can't even drive when there's no snow on the road. So you have no chance of driving in wintry weather, and we don't need it here because you're going to go out, you're going to go to the grocery stores, you're going to buy all the bread and milk. Now, I don't consume bread and milk, but you all love milk sandwiches for some reason. I don't understand why you eat them when there is something going on because there's milk sandwich sounds disgusting. So anybody who posts the map on social media this weekend, Hafui, hold my beer.
There you go.
Feel free to dissect. Go ahead, gentlemen.
You pour a little milk on that piece of bread, man. Just let it get really soggy. Oh, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Yeah,
I've never gotten that.
You know, like you walk into a store and there are so many options of things you could buy. There's an unlimited. If you're worried about the power going out, there's a lot of non-perishable food items. There's like aisles of non-perishable food items that could get you through a snowstorm. And here we are with the bread, the French toast ingredients, like there's an apocalypse.
Right.
I never understood that.
Yeah, no, you need to be getting beef jerky and chicken noodle soup.
And beer.
Beer.
Not that I'm condoning drinking.
I am. I would
get you a little alcohol.
Segment's called Hold My Beer. I think you're allowed.
Yes. Well, that's right. That's true. Yeah, get some beer if you can. I'll have vodka. All right. Let's see. Let's go to Miller. Miller's always. Let's go to Pill. We'll finish with Miller.
All right.
Pill, what do you have?
Save the best for last. Hold My Beer. Dome stadiums. We've got 2 coming up snow games on Sunday. Football's meant to be played outside. Van domes. It is an outdoor man's game. The best part of snow when you're a kid is getting to play football in the snow. Hold My Beer, people building dome stadiums.
I agree with you there.
I tore my hamstring in high school playing. I was playing snow football, and it's still one of my favorite memories. Even though that happened, I love playing in the snow when I was. I mean, it's what you dream about, playing football in the snow. I miss it. Absolutely, take all the domes. This shouldn't be a comfortable sport. It's football. Nobody should become, not even the fans.
Exactly.
Be out there, suffer. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
The announcers at outdoor stadiums are required to have the windows open.
Yep.
So why the heck do we not require games to be outside?
Love it.
You got to have the windows open. Come on. That's the best part of doing a game is having the windows open. to feel the crowd, to feel the cool air. All right, Mark Miller with a Hold My Beer. Go ahead, Mark.
Can I get two? I got two.
Yeah, go ahead.
One's a sports one, one's not. A sports one is the fact.
You got to say hold my beer first, Miller.
Hold my beer.
And then do it.
Hold my beer. Coordinators who are allowed to interview during playoffs when their teams are still in the playoffs. Kellen Moore has had interviews every day this week. If you recall, Jonathan Gannon, he who should not be named in Philadelphia, had interviews leading up to the Super Bowl every single day. He took the Arizona job, like leaving the stadium from the Super Bowl. And if you remember correctly, his defense got pantsed in that second half of that Super Bowl. His head wasn't all the way in it. I'm worried about Kellen Moore's head. The bigger issue for the Eagles than Jalen Hurts, people are complaining about Jalen Hurts. He's fine. Their vanilla play calling last week, I don't want to see that this week. But if he's too busy looking at other jobs, hold my beer. I don't like that. What do you think about that?
I don't know why you didn't bring this up earlier in the segment, because now I would have changed my pick. No, that's it's an X factor you failed to mention, or that I failed to think about.
That's
it's the way it is. Of all the things that we're concerned about, it's the way it is. Miller, I'm
but it
sorry.
sucks. I mean, hold my beer.
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was. But it's.
It shouldn't happen that way. And the second one is literally everyone, my kids, my wife, and every one of my kids' friends over the past several weeks has had the flu. And, boy, it just...
And you do right now, and you're breathing all over Pilk.
I have somehow avoided it. I have somehow gotten through taking care of my wife was sick. She might not have had the flu, but then I had then James got the flu and Wesley got the flu, and they're coming out of it, and I have magically not gotten it yet. But hold my beer flu season, it has absolutely sucked these last couple weeks.
No, it's been bad. A lot of people are sick, still sick for weeks on end.
I don't want to leave on a note like that, though.
Yeah, I thought you'd be funnier. All right, thanks to Mark Miller for being with us here today, the award-winning Mark Miller. Good luck to his Eagles coming up this weekend. Also, thanks to Brian Mull, the ever-patient one. Pilk, thanks to you as well. Back at it Monday with Talk of the Town in the morning on Talk 103.7, and then the Patrick Johnson Show from Tiebreakers ahead of Inside Pirate Athletics. Enjoy the weekend. Have a safe one. Bye, everybody. Bye.